Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are in Tbilisi, the capital city of Georgia, and for the next 1 week, we are going to explore in and around of Georgia. We rented a Mercedes Vito and it costed us $1,200 for 7 days, including the driver. Whenever we're traveling to a new place, we always try to explore their authentic and traditional dishes. So we decided to have a Georgian breakfast and proceeded to the nearby restaurant Hinkali Factory. This was a very cozy restaurant, and first up, we ordered probably the most popular dish in Georgia, kachapuri. When translated, kachapuri means cheesy bread, and these two words sum it all up. It is a flat bread made of leavened dough filled with cheese. It seems like almost every Georgian region has its local variant of kachapuri. The one described here is acharuli kachapuri, which resembles a boat with an egg yolk. A cube of butter and a lot of cheese will be floating inside, so it is a solid calorie bomb. We also tried another version of kachapuri and also ordered some Caesar salad along with a dish which I don't remember the name, but it again was a flatbread with cheese and topped with some egg and ham. All in all, with all the cheese, it was a very heavy meal for the seven of us. After breakfast, we proceeded to our first destination, the Freedom Square. Freedom Square is one of the most significant and central landmarks in Tbilisi. Next up, we are going boating along the Kura River. This river cuts through the heart of Tbilisi and is a perfect way to see both the old and new parts of the city from a totally different perspective. There will be several boat operators here, mostly private. You can either opt for a group tour and go along with other strangers who are traveling, or if you are a group yourself, you can hire a private boat and take the tour. Because we were a group of 7, we decided to take a private tour and hired a boat. It costed us 350 Georgian lari, which translates to about 11,000 for the 7 of us. The boat tour includes a 30-minute ride through the Kura River exploring old and new Tbilisi, and you also get unlimited wine and chacha. Once we're done with the boat ride, we'll get down and actually walk along the Bridge of Peace, so that is going to be our next stop. The Bridge of Peace was conceived as part of an effort to revitalize Tbilisi's old town and foster a connection between the city's ancient and modern parts. After Bridge of Peace, it was time to check out the Holy Trinity Cathedral, also known as Sameba. This cathedral is massive and absolutely stunning. It is the largest in Georgia, and the views from here are again incredible. The entry to the cathedral is free of cost, and do make sure you're wearing respectful clothing while entering the church. Our next stop was the Chronicles of Georgia. This is a monumental fresco and sculpture located on the Juari Hill near Tbilisi. The complex depicts the history of Georgia from ancient times to the 20th century with a series of towering stone columns adorned with detailed reliefs illustrating significant moments in Georgian history, culture, and religion. After lunch, it soon got dark, and because we were visiting in winters, this is normal. Today's last stop for the day was Narigala Fortress, so we got onto a cable car to go to Narigala Fortress. The cost of a one-way ride on the cable car is 2.5 lari per person, which is 75 rupees, and if you're opting for two-way, it will cost 150 rupees or 5 lari per person. The cable car is open from 11 am till 12 am. We wanted to see the night view of Tbilisi city, so we opted to take the cable car towards night. You can also walk up and down the castle. It's not that difficult. There are many people who do that. Because we did not have enough time and we wanted to experience the cable car, we went ahead with cable car experience. Narigala is an ancient fortress overlooking Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, and the Kura River. The fortress consists of two walled sections on a steep hill between the sulfur baths and the botanical gardens of Tbilisi. On the lower court, there is recently restored St. Nicholas Church. Newly built in 1996-97, this fortress replaces the original 13th century church that was destroyed in a fire. The fortress is located at an elevation of 383 meters from the ground level, thus giving a panoramic view of the city from top. Here you can also see the Mother of Georgia statue. She symbolizes the Georgian national character. In her left hand, she holds a bowl of wine to greet those who come as friends, and in her right hand is a sword for those who come as enemies. The statue is a 20-meter aluminum figure and was erected in the year 1958. We visited in December 2024 and unfortunately the fortress was closed for restoration. And that wraps up our day 1 of sightseeing in Tbilisi. It's day 2 of our adventure in Tbilisi, Georgia, and we'll be exploring some of Georgia's most famous historical landmarks today. We'll start by visiting the ancient town of Misketa and we'll wrap up the day with some stunning views from Mitatsminda Park. Misketa is a town located just 20 minutes outside of Tbilisi. Misketa was the ancient capital of the Kingdom of Iberia and has been a spiritual center for centuries. It's home to some of the oldest and most significant religious sites in Georgia. Our first stop in Mitsketa is the Svetitskhoveli Cathedral. This is one of the most important churches in Georgia. It dates back to the 11th century and is known as the Living Pillar. According to legend, it's built on the spot where Christ's robe was buried, making it a pilgrimage site for many. Outside the cathedral, we got to try this confectionery that holds a special place in the country's culinary culture. This is called church kela or Georgian Snickers due to its sweet, nutty, and chewy structure. Our next stop is the Jwari Monastery. This is yet another UNESCO World Heritage Site and sits on a hilltop offering breathtaking views of the confluence of Metwari and Aragvi rivers. Jwari Monastery was built in the 6th century during the reign of King Mirian III and it is considered one of the most important religious sites in Georgia. Jwari is an impressive example of early Georgian architecture, blending both pagan and Christian traditions. The church itself is a cross-shaped design which was quite revolutionary for its time. According to the legend, pilgrims visiting the site shed tears while praying, and the nearby natural lake was named the Lake of Tears. Now, I don't know how true that story is, but the views here were absolutely stunning. After lunch, it was time to head back to Tbilisi for something a little more fun. Now we are taking the funicular up to Mitatsminda Park for amazing views of Tbilisi city. You can get to Mount Mitatsminda in various ways. You can take the metro and then take to the bus to the park. But tourists rarely do that. Tourists usually opt for this funicular ride, which is an experience in itself. The cost per person one way is 2 lari, and if you're going up and down in the funicular, it will cost you 4 lari. Ascending upwards in the funicular, you can already see stunning views of Tbilisi city. The funicular is open every day from 9 am until 4 am. At night, the fare is a bit higher and it will be 3 Georgian lari one way. And we've reached the top of Mitatsminda Park. This is a fun amusement park that has been around for over 100 years now. The biggest attraction at this park are panoramic views of Tbilisi city. The park has a lot to offer in terms of rides and games for both kids and adults alike. If you're not interested in any games or rides at the amusement park, they also offer plenty of eateries where you can grab a quick bite or have a drink. There are also many souvenir shops throughout the park, so you can also do some shopping if you like to. Before we call it a day, there is one more thing I want to show you that's a must do when you are in the capital city of Tbilisi. We are here at the famous Abanotubani district, known for its ancient sulfur baths. Just soaking in these mineral rich waters is incredibly soothing. It's a perfect way to unwind after a day of sightseeing. Whether you're here for relaxation or for the therapeutic benefits, the sulfur baths have been a tradition in Tbilisi for centuries and I can definitely see why. So there are two options available. One, you can opt for a community sulfur bath with other visitors, or if you are a group yourself, you can opt for your private sulfur bath. We opted for the private sulfur bath and it costed us 300 Georgian lari, which is around 10,000 rupees. It sure is an expensive affair, but it felt like an experience worth trying. These baths are a key part of Tbilisi's culture and history. The sulfur-rich water is said to have incredible health benefits like improving skin conditions, relieving muscle tension, and detoxifying the body. You can also opt for a scrub on top of the sulfur bath. The bath also comes with shower facilities and changing rooms. Ensure you pack your swimsuits if you are planning to indulge in a sulfur bath. After Mitatsminda Park, our driver dropped us in Tbilisi city and we decided to take a stroll along the city during night. So, if you watched my previous video on Tbilisi Day 1 itinerary, you might already be familiar with this place. So, this is Freedom Square during the night. After a quick breakfast in Tbilisi, we hopped into the car and started our journey towards Salka. Salka is located about 2 hours outside of the city, and the views leading to Salka are absolutely breathtaking. See the diamond bridge from a distance. The bridge stands out for its distinctive architectural style. The most notable feature is its diamond shaped arch, which gives it its name. This unique design is not just aesthetically pleasing but also provides the bridge with structural strength, allowing it to span a wide gorge and carry heavy traffic. The bridge is made from reinforced concrete, a typical construction material for Soviet era infrastructure projects. The smooth, sweeping curves of the bridge are contrasted with the jagged terrain of the gorge below, making it look like a seamless integration of man made and natural elements. The entry cost to Diamond Bridge for foreigners is 50 Georgian lari, which is about 1500 rupees. The price is a bit high, but the views are worth it. Finally, we are going inside the Diamond Bridge. So, inside the diamond structure, there is a restaurant. You can order quick snacks or quick meals here. Obviously, the prices are on a higher side, but it is worth it for the views here. It is absolutely okay if you don't want to order anything also, because you've already paid an entry fee of 50 lari, you can spend as much time as you want inside the diamond structure. After Salka, we're proceeding to our next destination, the Java Keti region. Java Keti region in Georgia is a historically rich and geographically unique area located in the southern part of the country. It borders with Armenia and Turkey and is a mountainous region that forms the part of Lesser Caucasus Range. One of the most striking features of Java Keti is its natural landscape. It is marked by rugged mountains, highland plateaus, and numerous lakes. The region is known for its scenic beauty, which is especially captivating during the winter months when the lakes here freeze over. The Paravani Lake and Sagamo Lake are two prominent examples of lakes in the region that freeze during the winter. The frozen surface of these lakes become a playground for adventurers and nature lovers like us. During the months of January and February, it's going to freeze even more, and even vehicles can venture onto the lake. The surface of the lake was very slippery, and we had to take extreme caution to make sure that we don't slip or fall on the lake. We somehow managed to get a picture clicked without much cracks on the ice. During the colder months, the lakes of Java Keti become prime locations for ice fishing. This is day 4 of our Georgian adventure, and after 3 beautiful days in Tbilisi, we are finally saying goodbye to Tbilisi. And we have made it to the charming village of Pasanori. Look how beautiful the snow is. Pasanori is a small, picturesque village and is known for its incredible nature and the junction where two rivers meet. We have reached the famous ski resort of Georgia, but today we're not skiing. We have something even more important to do. Let me make my snow angel. And for special effects, we have some snow sprinkled all over. Just kidding. The more important mission today is some serious adventure, and instead of usual skiing, we've decided to try something a bit more exciting. Snow biking. If you've never heard of snow biking, it is like riding a regular bike but with skis instead of wheels. It is such an amazing way to enjoy the snow. I'm really excited to give it a go. Alright, just got the gear on. This is going to be epic. We've never tried snow biking before, but the adrenaline is already pumping, so let's hit the slopes. This is not as easy as it looks. We had a hard time navigating through the snow, and it felt like you're going to fall on your one side, and we had to keep balancing throughout. So snow biking is a bit of an expensive affair. It will cost you 150 lari, that is 4500 rupees per bike, and two people can ride one bike. Well, after all that fun, we are now heading to the Panorama Monument in Godavari. Situated on the Georgian Military Highway, this monument has become a must-see destination for travelers making their way through the region. It offers a breathtaking panorama of the surrounding Caucasus Mountains. It is a combination of natural beauty and historical significance, making it an exceptional spot. Today is day 5 of our Georgian adventure, and we are in Borjomi. So we reached Borjomi somewhere towards yesterday night. Now that we've had our breakfast, we are proceeding to the Borjomi Central Park with these cute visitors. There is an entry fee for the park that is 5 lari or 150 rupees per person. In the middle of the park, you can see the origins of Borjomi mineral water spring. Borjomi mineral water remains one of Georgia's most iconic products, known worldwide for its distinctive taste and therapeutic qualities. Another highlight and one of the most romantic spots in Borjomi Central Park is the Lovelock Bridge. This is a charming metal bridge that spans the lake and has become a symbol of love and commitment. Couples from all over the world come to add their own padlock to the bridge, each one symbolizing a lasting bond. The sight of hundreds of locks, each unique in its design, creates a heartwarming and visually striking display. The bridge itself, with its vintage ironwork and picturesque setting, adds to the fairy tale like atmosphere of the park. Our next stop for the day is Bakuriani, a charming mountain resort town just a short drive from Bojomi. As you can see, the snow has arrived in full force, and Bakuriani is a haven for snow lovers and winter sport enthusiasts. Because we've tried most of the winter sports in Godavari, we were not going to do any more sports here. We just wanted to enjoy the scenic backdrops here. Bakuriani is a haven for snow lovers and winter sports enthusiasts. It is one of Georgia's top ski resorts and it is known for its family friendly atmosphere. Whether you're skiing, snowboarding, or just enjoying the snow, this is a perfect place to embrace the winter magic. There are a lot of Airbnbs available here if you wish to stay in glass houses and with snowy backdrops. If you're looking for an off-beaten path and want to explore a part of Georgia that is not very well explored, then Bakuriani might be your best bet. So that's a wrap on our day 5, and after 2 beautiful days in Borjomi, we'll be checking out tomorrow morning. This is day 6 of our Georgian adventure, and today we are in the Gori region of Georgia. This region is popular as the birthplace of Soviet leader and revolutionary Joseph Stalin. This is the Stalin State Museum located at 32 Stalin Ave. As soon as you enter the museum, to one side of the museum you'll see Stalin's personal railway carriage. This green Pullman carriage, which is armor plated and weighs 83 tons, was used by Stalin from 1941 onwards. It was sent to the museum on being recovered from the railway yards at Rostov-on-Don in 1985. In front of the building lies a Stalin statue sculpted by Silovan Kakabadze. We had an early start to the day and we reached the museum around its opening time of 10 am, and we were the first ones to enter the museum. The museum has 3 sections, all located in the town's central square. It was officially dedicated to Stalin in 1957. Visit of the whole museum complex, including exhibition halls, memorial house and Stalin carriage accompanied by a guide, will cost you about 15 Georgian lari. We opted for the tickets without a guide and that costed us 10 Georgian lari, but in hindsight I would say it might be better to take the tour of the museum with a guide, because not many things were written in English and it was difficult to understand a lot of things. Before Sainagi, we are taking another stop in Kaketi region and at this beautiful wine house called KTW Wine House, or Kaketian Traditional Winemaking House. KTW House is one of the largest wine and spirits producing companies in Georgia and the Caucasus region. It was established in 2001 and produces wine, brandy, sparkling wines using traditional Georgian techniques mixed with the state of the art technologies. Wine was not the only product available at KT Winery. They had a lot of other products like honey, jams, squashes. So, a lot of things that are made from grapes basically, and a lot of other flavors as well. These products make for excellent gifts from Georgia, and make sure to grab 1 or 2 of authentic Georgian products before you leave Georgia. We are going to enter the factory to see the state of the art machinery. So there are a lot of wine glasses here. All of us should take one glass and proceed to the tour with the guide. So she'll explain the process of winemaking to us, and in between she'll also let us taste some of the wines. The overall experience can take anywhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour, and you'll get to taste wine types like red wine, white wine, rose wine and sparkling wines. The place is open every day and visiting hours are from 10 am till 5:30 pm.
After grapes are harvested, the next process is the crushing and pressing of grapes, either through traditional crushing or modern press methods. Next step is fermentation, and this happens in oak barrels or stainless steel tanks. Now I know these wines have complicated names and it might not be easy to remember them exactly. So every steel tank has a number inscribed on it. We just have to note down the number and then go back to the store and give them the number to buy that particular wine. We got to taste wine from both oak barrels and stainless steel tanks. Oak imparts a variety of flavors to wine, and these flavors come from compounds in the wood which are released during fermentation. Stainless steel tanks are rather inert and does not impart any additional flavors to the wine. Fermentation in steel tank preserves the pure expression of grapes' natural characteristics, maintaining bright, clean, and fresh fruit flavors. So we tasted a total of 4 wines and we have now all decided what we are going to buy. So before you exit, you have to place the used glasses near a table to the exit gate. Today we are exploring one of Georgia's most picturesque towns, Sainagi. It is a hidden gem in the heart of Georgia's wine region with colorful buildings, stunning views, and so much history around every corner. From the cobblestone paths to the vibrant houses with red tiled roofs, every turn has something to admire. And just look at that backdrop of the Caucasus Mountains. Alright, now let's head to one of Sainagi's most iconic spots, the Sainagi Fortress. The origins of Sainagi Fortress date back to ancient times, with the current structure believed to have been built in the 18th century. Fortress was constructed by King Erekle II of Kingdom of Kakheti as part of efforts to strengthen the region's defense against external threats, particularly from the neighboring Persia and Ottoman Empire forces. The fortress is known for its well-preserved defensive walls, watchtowers, and gates. It includes 23 watchtowers, some of which still offer panoramic views of the valley and the Caucasus Mountains in the distance. Next, we are proceeding to the Bodbe Monastery. It is just a short drive from the fortress, and this place is one of Georgia's most sacred sites. It is said to be the final resting place of Saint Nino, the woman who brought Christianity to Georgia in the 4th century. The monastery is open from 10 am till 6:30 pm for visitors. This place also does not have any entrance fee to it, and visitors can explore the place free of cost. Previous video you saw us exploring a winery in Kakheti region. Today we are exploring yet another winery called Gianni Winery, located in the historic village of Manavi. Manavi is the heartland of Georgian wine production in the Caucasus region of Kakheti. This winery was established in 1894 and they have about 130 years of experience in winemaking. So this is a paid tour with wine tasting. It costed us 30 Georgian lari per person, which is around 900 rupees. So it might seem expensive compared to a lot of other wineries, but trust me, this amount is totally going to be worth it. Okay, now that we have understood the process of both olden ways of winemaking as well as modern ways of winemaking, we are proceeding towards the most interesting part, wine tasting. In this package, we'll get to taste 4 different wines, both dry and sweet, and we'll also get to try chacha, which is a traditional alcohol in Georgia. So we have some cheese here to pair with our wines, and then there are breadcrumbs with sunflower oil. So this is used for palate cleansing between wines. And we also have some traditional Georgian church kela.
So, how we are assessing the wine quality? First, visual. How it looks, what is the color, what is intensity of color. You are not pointing correctly. Sorry, look at them. Not pointing this way, no, because you put some
Temperature.
and also you are changing the temperature. It's not good. Every wine has its own right, correct serving temperature. We always write it on the label.
So those are the 4 wines that we tasted from Gianni Winery, and it was very difficult to choose which one to buy. We ended up buying 2 bottles each. Okay, finally, it's time to head back to India. That was a beautiful 1 week we spent in Georgia. I've uploaded detailed itineraries of every single day that we spent in Georgia, so do check that out on my channel.
If you've enjoyed this video, do drop a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Mrs. Explorer for more travel content. Until then, bye.